Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Renee. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. Today's video, as the title states, is going to be 10 books that will get you out of that reading slump that you're in. 10 books that will literally make you want to read every single day. These aren't books that are really good books that I'm like, oh my god, they're so profound, they're like life-changing books. If you're into that kind of stuff or want those kind of recommendations, I will pop a video on the screen. But for right now, we're just going to be doing books that will get you out of the reading slump. So we need quick, fast-paced, a little bit of a lighter read. I know some people like non-fiction books, some people like fiction books, so I did 5 fiction and 5 non-fiction for today's video. We do have a sponsor for today's video, and that is Babbel. So Babbel is a way to learn a language online. Such a cool concept. I have New Year's resolutions. I'm sure you guys do as well. I personally like to focus on the 7 dimensions of wellness, which I'll pop right here for you guys. These are like the wellness check for Renee. If all of these are somewhat balanced, I feel balanced. And for some reason, the hardest one for me is the education one, because I already went to school, I got my degree, I'm not in school, like I'm not actually a student anywhere. So learning a new language is something that can go and fit into that category as well as many other ones, because it's so important to keep your brain active, especially when we're aging. Your brain will literally like deplete if you don't have something that you're learning every single day. So we're throwing, you know, technology, social media, all that stuff in our faces every day. It's so important to keep your brain active. So that's why I personally would love to learn a new language. I also have a lot of goals to travel this year, and not just in my comfort zone, but maybe expand a little bit and go outside of my country. And so I think it's important to learn their culture and learn the language over there. So Babbel's unique because it teaches you practical real-world conversations. They do have vocabulary in there, but it's not just vocabulary. They'll teach you the culture, they'll teach you about the people, they'll teach you about history, certain slang words, holidays, etc. Everyone's learning style is a little bit different. I'm more of a visual and like taking action kind of person, but they have all different types of learning, if whatever works best for you. They have games, podcasts, lessons, live classes with top teachers, and all of this is the cool part, it's designed by real life teachers, like no AI, no technology. It's like actual real top teachers that are teaching you and creating these lessons for you. And they're also super manageable. They're like broken down into 10-minute short lessons, which is perfect if you are busy, because learning a language, it feels like it would take forever, but breaking them down like this is really unique. And they guarantee that you'll learn and start speaking in just 3 weeks, which is really cool. Plus, if they don't, they have a money-back guarantee, a 20-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't pleased with the service, they are 100% confident in their product enough that they will give you your money back if you are not pleased. Learning a language is super beneficial no matter what you are using it for, whether it's for fun, mental benefits, traveling, business stuff, relationship stuff. It is just something that I think we don't put a lot of emphasis on, and I'm so glad that they reached out, because I'm like, now it's added to my New Year's resolutions. I'm actually gonna like do a 10-minute lesson here in a second. I'm gonna be vlogging that, and we'll see in 3 weeks like if I can do some sort of speaking, which is gonna be so exciting. So they're gonna give you guys 65% off your first subscription of Babbel if you click on the link in my description box. That's a huge deal. Go jump on it and let me know if you guys do it, and if you do, what language you guys are going to be learning. All right, let's dive into the books. I will link all the books as well down below. These are gonna be fast, quick. You won't be able to put these books down. I've read many books in my days. I went through all of them, and I was like, what's the ones that I would give to somebody if they're not a reader, or if they're just like in a slump or something like that, and these are going to be them. I'm going to start with fiction. Big Little Lies. For me to get through a book really fast, I feel like there has to be some sort of reward after, and I love reading books that have like series or movies attached to them, because then I can watch it visually after reading the book. It's such a fun thing to do for me. The TV series of this book is so good, but it could also have just been a book on its own, and I would have still put it on this list because it's so good. It grabs your attention so much. There's like a murder and a murderee. You don't know who they are until the very end of the book. You don't know who was murdered, and you don't know who the murderee is until the end of the book, which is really unique, because usually you know who's murdered or you know who murdered, and it's just a murder mystery thriller. It is so great in terms of getting to know the characters. You really get like kind of engulfed in all the characters. It just keeps you guessing and guessing and guessing, and you never know, like every single chapter your guess changes, which is so fun because you're like all over the place. Like usually you're like, I know this is gonna end like this, or I have a feeling it's guided towards this way. This one's like, it's definitely this. No, whoa, 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 it's this person. Wait, no, it's like, it's crazy. So all 3 girls are completely different. And like I said, there's a murder in the beginning, and we just don't know who was murdered or what happened. It was just an accident. It's like based in this really elite kind of like suburban family, like super rich town, and 3 girls are the main characters, and they all have some hidden secrets and stuff. So there's Madeline, who is like super passionate, and she has like a really great family, and she's funny. And then there's Celeste, who's like this beautiful woman who's like the epitome of perfection. And then there's Jane, who's like new in town. She's a single mom, she's young, and one of the other mothers mistakes her for like a nanny. So the single mom Jane has like this mysterious past, which is, wait for it, and then these 3 women kind of just hit like different crossroads, and they end up at the same place. It's just like, it's amazing. It's a great story. There's so many stories within stories within stories in this story that are just like, what the heck? It's such a good book. Okay, so the next one is called The Girl Before. I actually had read this one in 2 days, I remember, and I just couldn't put it down. It's a really easy, quick, fast-paced book, and it's so interesting. It's a psychological thriller, and it goes back and forth between like times. So there's like this apartment, or like, is it an apartment or a home? Yeah, a house that's an architectural masterpiece. It's called 1 Folgate Street. It has a minimalist design, and there's rules to like renting this specific home because of the architecture. Like, you can't have books out, you can't have photos, like no clutter, and it's intended to transform the occupant. They talk about 2 women who have lived there, like the one before and the one who's living there now, and there's all these lies and like untangled truths and patterns, and like, it's so good. It's so fast. I just remember I read it legit in like 2 days, and it will get you wanting to read again, I promise you that. And then The Silent Patient, I talk about this all the time. The Silent Patient is amazing. It's one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life, and it's a really quick, fast-paced book. You won't be able to put it down. It's basically about this psychologist who has a client who was like a famous artist who had like killed her husband cold blood, but then didn't talk for years later, and so his goal is to try to get her to talk. I wish I could read this one again for the first time all over again. It was so great. It's so good. It's so good. And then Verity. So this is actually a book I read last year that was one of my top favorites, and I liked it because it was so fast-paced. It's also very thriller. I feel like books that make you want to read again, especially fiction books, are ones that are like mysterious and like you're left guessing and stuff like that, and Verity is definitely one of those books. And I feel like the ending is one of those endings where like everyone has their own kind of like story. So basically there's this writer who's like a famous writer. She ends up having an accident where she's now in like a coma, and so this girl named Lowen is hired to finish up her series by the girl's husband. She found Verity, the girl who is now in a coma, the writer. She finds her autobiography and starts reading it and realizing like what happened, all about her story. And like, the girl Verity's daughter actually had passed, so she finds out about that, and hidden secrets between this family. It's just, it's really creepy. I get like chill bumps even thinking about it. It's creepy, heads up, but it's also really good. And then The Perfect Child. This one also is so creepy. So this one is about a couple who ends up adopting this girl who is creepy. Kind of reminds me of like The Omen, but it's not like devilish in any way. But basically she gets like fixated on the husband, but then the wife is like not connecting with the girl at all. The author is actually an ex like child psychologist, so she literally goes in deep into like understanding the psyche of a child and like the behavior, and like it's so good. It's very disturbing, but it's also like you can't put it down because it's so disturbing. It's really good. So I'll link all this down below. Now onto the nonfiction ones. I can never like not recommend this book enough. It's called The Happiness Equation. It is written in such a point blank kind of way. Like, there's no unnecessary jargon. It's just, there's some poems in there, there's some lists in there, there's some stories in there, and each chapter is so different and unique. It has a different like profound lesson that's told within 2 to 3 pages, which is right up my alley. It's so simplistic, it's so profound, it's amazing. I cannot recommend it any other book enough. It's one of my favorite books ever. I also put in here Sapiens. So Sapiens is so entertaining. This one is about our history and evolution of a human, and so It's kind of like a history book, but entertaining only, like only the entertaining parts. He literally takes you from the beginning of humans all the way until like now. It is beautiful. There's like graphs and pictures and stuff. The papers are super glossy, but it's just like so entertaining and it's so interesting to me. And if you're a history nut or you like evolution or you like learning about humans and Homo sapiens, I think that you would love it. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This one, I was up at like 3 in the morning running every single day in the beginning of 2020 when we thought 2020 was going to be a good year. That one, wow. Again, I kind of wish I could read it all over again for the first time. This guy is like a superhuman. He's run like ultra marathon after ultra marathon. And when I say after, it's like every single day. Like he ran some sort of race. He literally has conquered his brain to the point where I feel like his body is like a robot. It is one of the most amazing motivational books I've ever read because he's not trying to tell you to live a certain life that you want to live. Like he's just like, this is what I do. This is what works for me. This is how I've conquered my victim mentality, how I've overcome my mind and my thoughts. And he's done it in such a way that I don't think anyone's ever going to touch him. But if we can just get like 5% of David Goggins' brain, you can do a lot with yourself. And let me tell you, I did. I should probably reread that one again because I was just like going so in the beginning of 2020. I was just like, I was pushing myself. He's just no BS. I love it. And it's, again, has nothing to do with like him trying to sell a book or a motivational speaker kind of thing. He's just like, here's my story. This is what it is. And yeah, he's done like the Navy SEAL test like many times. He's just like, he's awesome. And I love that he's no BS. And then I put I Can't Make This Up. So this is a Kevin Hart book. Kevin Hart is just entertaining in himself. Like you're gonna laugh in the book, but it's also really serious. And he's actually an amazing grinder. The way he looks at his life, it's not just like he's a famous comedic actor or actor now. He like hustles and it shows his story and it talks about like, you know, pain and grief and like everything that he's overcome and like even being canceled. He has a good way at like telling a story. Like I think anyone can like agree that Kevin Hart is a really good storyteller. And so when you read this book, it's a mix between like real life problems and overcoming that, hustling and grinding, and then also like humor and in storytelling. It's just a really, 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 really good book. I highly recommend it. And then You Are a Badass. This is like the staple of a self-help book. If you've never read a self-help book, this one is the one to pick up first. It's the one I picked up first, and I'm pretty sure if you ask anyone, what self-help book did you pick up first, they're gonna say You Are a Badass, because again, it's so simplistic but also profound. That's like the two things that I look for in a self-help book. Something that is just there to like motivate you and inspire you but not make you feel in any way victimized. She makes you feel really confident and really good. I feel like a lot of self-help books are very like negative and they're like, you need help and you're in this state and like we've all been there and like it's so sad, and then it brings you up. She's like, no, you're a badass. These are my mental tricks that can help you overcome things in your life. And she doesn't play that victim role. Again, it's very like non-BS, which I love. So all of that will be linked down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are some of my favorite books ever. Again, I wish I could reread them for the first time all over again because they're so great and they make me want to read. So I hope that they make you want to read. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you guys soon.
I'm with the pack, better sit and relax. Gotta keep me a second. Your girl wanna date me, whoa. I got a truck full of flows.